Russia built the perfect drone weapon, and Ukraine just turned it into a trap. For 2 years, Moscow flooded Ukrainian skies with waves of cheap Iranian-designed drones, hundreds at a time, night after night, betting that Ukraine would burn through its expensive air defense missiles trying to stop them. And it worked. Ukraine's own Air Force spokesman admitted that some missile launcher units are now half empty, NASAMS batteries running low, IRIS-T stocks under pressure. Russia had found the formula. Drown a country in $20,000 drones and force it to respond with $4 million missiles. The math was brutal, and it was bleeding Kyiv dry. But then Ukraine did something that nobody in Moscow planned for. Kyiv took an Antonov An-28, a 40-year-old twin-engine turboprop originally built to shuttle passengers between forgotten Soviet airstrips, bolted Interceptor drones under its wings, and turned it into a flying drone carrier. A $1,000 Interceptor, launched from a plane that belongs in a Cold War aviation museum, hunting a Shahed in the dark. And that is not even the most devastating part of this story. Because when that Interceptor dropped from that wing, it did not just kill a drone, it killed an entire strategy.
Somewhere over central Ukraine, in the dead of night, an Antonov An-28 is flying at medium altitude. No stealth coatings, no advanced avionics suite, just 2 Pratt & Whitney turboprops humming through the blackness. A utility aircraft designed in the 1960s, mass-produced in Poland between 1984 and 1992, and never, ever intended for combat. But tonight, this aircraft is a hunter. On the ground, a queuing team tracks an incoming Shahed-type drone, Russia's tireless night assassin, the slow and cheap but relentless weapon that has terrorized Ukrainian cities for 2 years, carrying its warhead toward a power station, a hospital, a residential block. The flight path data goes up to the An-28, the crew aligns, the pilot steadies, and then, from beneath the wing, a P-1-SUN interceptor drone drops free and ignites. A tiny autonomous weapon, no bigger than a large model airplane, accelerating into the night, chasing a Shahed that cost Russia between $50,000 and $100,000. The interceptor that is about to kill it cost Ukraine roughly $1,000. And the footage exists. Ukrainian pilot Timur Fatkulin posted it himself. The P-1-SUN leaving the An-28's underwing pylon, racing toward a Shahed silhouette in the dark. And Fatkulin described what he had just done in 5 words that land like a verdict. You could call it a cheap air-to-air missile. A cheap air-to-air missile. Launched from a plane older than most of the soldiers flying it, against a drone that was supposed to be too cheap to intercept economically. Before the P-1-SUN, the same An-28 had already been hunting Shaheds with an M134 minigun, the 6-barreled rotary cannon bolted to the cargo door of a plane designed to carry luggage. 222 drone kills using gunfire alone, according to later reports. But the minigun was brute force. The Interceptor drone was something else entirely. It was a new doctrine. And the doctrine is what dismantled everything Russia built.
Because what Ukraine just broke apart was not a random attack pattern. It was a strategy Russia spent years building. And Moscow was certain it could not be beaten. Russia's Shahed doctrine was elegant in its cruelty. Take a drone, a slow, cheap, expendable weapon with a one-way engine and a warhead where the landing gear should be, and build thousands of them. Launch them in waves, night after night, week after week. The targets? Power stations, transformer hubs, hospitals. The goal was never to win the war from the air. The goal was to create an impossible equation. Every Shahed forced a choice. Shoot it down with a Patriot missile, $4 to $6 million per shot, and you protect the target, but you empty the magazine. Ignore it, and a power station goes dark. In a single month, Russia launched around 6,500 long-range drones. More than 1,000 got through. 27,000 Shahed-type drones between November 2025 and March 2026. All aimed at Ukrainian power infrastructure. Industrial-scale terror designed to make Ukrainian air defense bankrupt itself trying to respond. And on the 12th of May, with the temporary ceasefire barely cold, Russia launched 216 drones in a single night.
as if to say, we will never stop. Moscow's bet was simple. We have more drones than you have missiles. We have more factories than you have patience. And the Kremlin was so confident in this equation that its spokesman started threatening anyone who tried to help Ukraine fight back. Dmitry Peskov warned the world, these countries helping Ukraine are becoming increasingly directly involved in the conflict. And Dmitry Medvedev, the man who used to be Russia's president, went further. When strikes become a reality depends on what comes next. Sleep well, European partners. Sleep well. That is what the Kremlin told Europe while it was sending 200 drones a night into Ukrainian cities. Moscow was not just confident, Moscow was arrogant. And arrogance in this war has a very specific expiration date.
Because Russia's pressure campaign did not break Ukraine, it transformed Ukraine. When your missile launchers are half empty, when your Air Force spokesman goes on record and says batteries are running dry, you do not sit and wait for more missiles from allies, you invent. Today, the launchers assigned to certain units and batteries are half empty. And Ukraine invented on a scale that makes the original problem look like the gift it accidentally was. SkyFall built the P-1-SUN, a compact autonomous interceptor that costs roughly $1,000. $1,000. Against a Shahed that costs between $50,000 and $100,000. That is not a cost advantage, that is a cost annihilation. For the price of a single Shahed, Ukraine can launch 50 to 100 interceptors. And SkyFall says it can produce up to 50,000 P-1-SUNs per month. 50,000 interceptors per month. Against a country launching 6,500 drones per month. The math does not just flip, it collapses on Russia's side. Then came the scale-up. In February, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense said interceptor drones had shot down over 10,000 enemy fixed-wing UAVs. By March, 33,000. 33,000, more than triple in 30 days. And here is the vicious cycle that Russia cannot escape. Moscow expands the Shahed barrages, Ukraine's missile stocks drain faster. Kyiv scales the cheap interceptor drones. The An-28 becomes an airborne launch platform. Drone interception becomes faster, more flexible, harder to overwhelm. Foreign militaries notice. Foreign militaries start buying. And Russia's original cost advantage, the entire mathematical foundation of the Shahed strategy, begins to erode. Not slowly, not gradually. It erodes the way a riverbank collapses, all at once, because the water was eating it from underneath the whole time. Ukraine's defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov, put it in words that sound less like a policy announcement and more like a death sentence for Russia's drone doctrine. We are launching a new level of small air defense. Small air defense. Not Patriots, not NASAMS, not Iris-T. A system built from $1,000 drones, 40-year-old turboprops, and operators hundreds of kilometers away. This is what happens when you try to bleed a country dry, and the country discovers it can bleed you back at a fraction of the cost. But this story does not end inside Ukraine, because while Medvedev was telling Europe to sleep well, something far bigger was happening on the other side of the world. What Ukraine built in desperation, the rest of the world is now buying on purpose. In April 2026, the United States military took Ukrainian-made counter-drone software and deployed it at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. The SkyMap system, Ukraine's battlefield-forged brain for tracking and killing incoming drones, battle-tested against Russian Shaheds, and now sitting inside a US military installation in the Persian Gulf, protecting American forces from Iranian drones. The same type of drones, the same threat, and the solution came from Kyiv, not from Lockheed Martin, not from Raytheon, not from any of the trillion-dollar American defense contractors. From a country fighting for survival that built something the Pentagon decided it needed. That fact alone would be enough to rewrite the story, but it did not stop there. On the 11th of May, President Zelensky announced that nearly 20 countries are now interested in drone deals with Ukraine. 4 agreements already signed. Not aid packages flowing into Ukraine, defense technology flowing out. In other words, every Shahed Russia launches does not just threaten Ukraine. It adds Ukraine's counter-drone capability to every military on the planet that faces the same threat. Russia tried to win the drone war by flooding the sky with cheap weapons. Instead,
It created the world's largest proving ground for the very systems designed to make those weapons obsolete. Medvedev told Europe to sleep well. Peskov warned the world to stay out. And while they were talking, Ukraine was building. Russia's Shahed strategy was supposed to drain Ukraine's resources. Instead, it forced Ukraine to build a counter-system that is cheaper, faster, and now being exported to 20 countries. The United States is using Ukrainian software to protect its own bases, and every single night that Russia launches another wave of drones, it is doing one thing: training the system that is learning to destroy them. Russia did not just lose the cost war. Russia is funding Ukraine's next-generation air defense industry. With every Shahed it sends, Moscow is paying for the R&D of the very weapons being built to defeat it. And somewhere tonight, over a darkened Ukrainian sky, a 40-year-old turboprop that was never meant for combat is circling with Interceptor drones strapped beneath its wings, waiting for the next Shahed that Russia is foolish enough to send. Russia tried to exhaust Ukraine with mass production. Ukraine answered with a better equation. And equations, unlike drones, do not run out of fuel. Is what Ukraine built just a wartime improvisation that dies when the war ends? Or is this the future of air defense for every country on Earth? Subscribe, because the answer is already being written.